the Department of English, St. Mary's College and St. Mary's College itself. To all the participants, I'm J. Michael Preetham, Assistant Professor of English, St. Mary's College, and I'll be hosting this book launch program. At the outset, I would like to welcome each and every participant for taking your valuable time out to attend our FTP on integrating life skills into the English classroom. It's a kind request to all the participants to mute their audio and not share their screen. I extend a special and warm welcome to Professor Y.L. Srinivasa, Professor of English in English and Foreign Languages University and Executive Council Member, National Assessment and Accreditation Council, NAC. Dr. Mohan Raj Satwalli, former teacher educator at the English and Foreign Languages University, Hyderabad. Mr. Nagaraju, Master Trainer in Communicative Language Teaching Techniques, certified by the US State Department English Language Fellow Program. Ms. Alankrita Mahendra, Associate Publishing Manager, Higher Education and Assessment, Cambridge University Press and Assessment, India. Professor Matthew George, Principal, St. Mary's College. Ms. Jamal Cross, Vice Principal, St. Mary's College, all the heads of the department, and all the authors of the book, Life Skills and Personality Development. Once more, I would request all of you, all the participants, to mute their audio, not share their screen, so that we can go ahead with the program smoothly. I would appear puerile if I even try to emphasize the importance of soft skills and personality development in the present times, even though it may not come as a shocker for most of us here that more than half of our graduates are unemployable due to lack of skills. The book, Life Skills and Personality Development, is the brainchild of a series of collaborative discussions which ensued while we were conducting our finishing school course in college in 2020. What I'm going to do now is provide a brief outline as to how this dream of ours came to fruition. Dr. Maitri Shinde, the head of the department, for one, somehow seemed to believe that we should certainly come up with a book on soft skills and personality development. Since we had already been conducting finishing school sessions for many years at St. Mary's College, she kept reiterating that we had the wherewithal to do so, since we had put in a lot of research and collaboration already in the process of conducting the course. For quite a few years now, we decided to bring in members from our fraternity, from other colleges as well, in order to gain from their experience and expertise as well, so that we could think of a broader spectrum of students benefiting from its use. Thus, 4 of us from St. Mary's College and 4 teachers from reputed colleges across the Twin Cities, namely Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technology, St. Francis College, Aurora College, and VNR Vignan Jyoti, got together to accomplish this task. It was an arduous, taxing, and strenuous task with several rounds of editing, rechecks, and modifications, all leading up to the satiating experience of seeing the book in its present form. Our principal, Professor J. Matthew George, has always been the support of strength and guidance, and I would try to read a little bit about him in the limited time that I have. He's an alumnus of the International Visitor Leadership Program, IVLP, the US Department of State's premier professional exchange program. He also headed the Center for Entrepreneurship Development of the IFHE, deemed university, coordinated student activities while being an associate professor in the Department of Economics of IBS Hyderabad. Areas of interest include entrepreneurship, development economics, economics of science and technology, and law and economics. He has co-authored a book titled Issues in Public Finance, the Indian Experience, published by IUP. Sir, as I said earlier, has been our constant strength, support, and much needed constructive critic during the course of our writing the book. Sir's valuable inputs were taken into consideration while writing this book. Now, without further ado, I would invite our principal, Professor J. Matthew George, to release the book. I would also request Sir to mention the names of the authors, and even as he is doing so, I request our colleague, Mr. Sai Kiran, to help us spotlight all the members. An earnest request to the authors, only the authors of the book, to keep your videos on even as we continue with this. I think we seem to have lost Sir for a little while.
Am I audible now, Michael?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Michael. It is my proud privilege this morning to do an online launch of the Cambridge University Press published book, Life Skills and Personality Development, co-authored by some of my brilliant colleagues led by Dr. Maitri Shinde, and their equally brilliant friends and collaborators from other reputed institutions of Hyderabad. I hope this book significantly improves the odds of success in the lives of many youngsters for whom life skills could make the difference between success and failure in their personal and professional lives. Let me congratulate each of the authors. Dr. Maitri Shinde, Head of the Department of English and Languages at St. Mary's College. Ms. Jyotsna Srinath, Lecturer in English, formerly of St. Mary's College. Dr. E. Krishna Chaitanya, Assistant Professor of English, Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technology. Ms. PVS Lakshmi, Assistant Professor of English at St. Francis College for Women. Mr. J. Michael Preetham, former Head of the Department of English and Language and Head IQAC and New Initiatives at St. Mary's College. Mr. D. Sai Kiran, Assistant Professor of English at St. Mary's College. Ms. Sonia Raju, Assistant Professor of Political Science at Aurora's Degree College. And Dr. D. Sudharani, Associate Professor of English at the Department of Humanities and Sciences, VNR Vijnana Jyoti Institute of Engineering and Technology. Let me take this time to congratulate each one on this outstanding work.
Thank you,
Best
sir.
wishes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Just wanted to check with Sai whether you managed to spotlight all of them. I hope all the participants are able to see the authors.
Maybe we can do it once more.
Yeah, because
I think I can see Dr. Maitri Shinde and Jyotsna ma'am. I can see, where is Jyotsna?
yeah, I can see
Yeah,
Dr.
yeah.
Chaitanya now, sir.
Yeah, now I can see Dr. Krishna Chaitanya. Yes.
He was missing a little while ago.
Yes,
but
I
think
can
now,
see Dr. Sudharani as well.
Yeah,
I can see Miss Sonia Raju.
yeah.
What about Miss PVS Lakshmi?
Previous
Yeah, she's also there. I can see her.
You can see her. I am not able to see. Okay.
Sai sir is thing.
Sai Kiran, I can see. Sai
Can
sir.
I request Bobby sir also to, if you can help us with the screenshot?
Yeah, now I added, sir. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe now it's the right time to take a screenshot. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Principal Sir, for those words of appreciation. As I said earlier, sir has been a constructive critic, and that is so very important, especially when you are going through such a task. As I told you, it was not easy, but at the end, it's all worth it. Thank you so much on behalf of everyone here, sir. Thank you so much for your cooperation, support, and everything that you have done to make this job an easy one for us. Thank you, sir. We also have in our midst at this moment, Professor Y.L. Srinivas, sir. Before I go ahead and talk about him, there's so much to talk about, sir. I would like to say that we were fortunate, some of us at St. Mary's, pursuing our PhD, to listen to his lectures. Thank you so much, sir, for all that you've done for us individually. But I'm going to read something more, certainly, about Y.L. Srinivas, sir. Professor Y.L. Srinivas is a professor of English in English and Foreign Languages University. He is the Executive Council member, National Assessment and Accreditation Council, NAC. He has held prestigious positions in Usmania University, such as Head, Department of English, and Board of Studies, Department of English, OU. He has published many articles in national and international journals and edited course books. He often writes articles for mainstream English newspapers, which are a hit among the readers, and we get to read those because we are part of a WhatsApp group where these are shared. He has been a resource person for RCI and Judicial Academy and many other statutory institutions. His areas of interest for research are post-colonial literature, Indian writing in English, film and media studies. Sir has reviewed the book and has also written the foreword of our book and has been a constant source of support for us in the course of publication of our book, encouraging us and our team from time to time. Now, I would like to take this opportunity to request Y.L. Srinivas sir to address the audience.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Michael Preetham, and we want to, address you soon, Dr. Michael Preetham. And when will that be? Respected Principal, St. Mary's College, Professor Matthew George, Ms. Alankrita Mahendra from Cambridge University Press, all other dignitaries who are there, hosting this program, and dear participants, good morning to you all. Yeah. I can't start video because I just recovered from, this, Corona.
No problem, sir. No problem.
Yeah. So this is, So at the outset, I congratulate the executives of Cambridge University Press and editors and course writers of this very, very wonderful special book, Life Skills and Personality Development, edited by a set of teachers, Dr. Maitri Shinde, Dr. Josna, Dr. Krishna Chaitanya, Ms. PVS Lakshmi, Michael Preetham, Mr. Sai Kiran, Sonia Raju from Political Science, that's very interesting, and Dr. Sudha Rani. I congratulate all of you for bringing out a book which is timely and which is the need of the hour. Now, as all of us are teachers, we understand the purpose of education, and the very purpose of education is to impart skills, impart values. Then why do we need a special book, and why do we need a special course? And the very fact that we have special course, what Dr. Michael Preetham said, finishing school to impart values and skills, sounds redundant and paradoxical. To impart skills, and then why do we need a special course, and why do we need a special book on this? As part of writing forward to this book, I went through all the contents in the book. And all the contents in the book, I must congratulate all the course writers. They don't really talk about skills directly. They don't talk about values directly, but they make students reflect on different life situations. A life situation is given, an exigency of life is given, And strategies to negotiate with those exigencies are indirectly suggested to students. So which means this book attempts to impart values more by suggestion than by direct engagement, of setting out an objective at the end of this lesson, you learn this or you learn that kind of a thing. I come back to the question that, why do we Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible now, sir.
Because Migration Day is calling, so I thought, yeah. Okay. So then the question is, why do we need a book like this? To understand why we need a book like this, we need to understand the typical Indian situation. I don't really have that kind of a time to go into all details, but I just give one illustration. In India, this entire school education is riddled with scoring marks and scoring ranks, and then topping examinations, and the entire obsession is with ranks and marks and getting a seat in a good engineering college or getting a seat in good medical college. And therefore we have many coaching institutions. Perhaps only in India we come across a situation where we have one coaching institution who gives coaching to join another coaching institution. And we have many of them in this part of Hyderabad. We have Ramaya Institute to coach for Ramaya Institute. We have many other institutions here where even senior executives come take, rent a portion, very small portion, and live here to send their children, in the wee hours of, every morning. And because we have this kind of an obsession for, for courses, what happened is, followed of this, that values and soft skills have been relegated to the margins of education ecosystem. And because the whole obsession is to get a seat in IIT or get a seat in good engineering college or then write GRE kind of thing. And because the entire focus has shifted from imparting values and skills to rote learning, we need these kind of books, because unless we teach children values and skills, they would not be able to compete in a very highly competitive world. I always believe that skills and values we can't really teach in isolation. As teachers of English, most of us know we can't really teach communication skills in isolation. We have to create context to impart skills or impart language skills or any skill for that matter. And because most of us come from academy, we all know that we have Aristotle who wrote Poetics, and we have Bharata Muni who wrote Natya Shastra. And Aristotle and Bharata Muni come from two different geographical domains. But those of you who have read both Aristotle and then Bharata Muni would realize both of them would talk about the same point. The point is that we would be able to impart skills, impart lessons only when we engage people, and when skills and values are imparted indirectly, not directly. And therefore, both Aristotle and Bharata Muni, they talk about moral view, not moral objective. Moral objective is different. Moral objective is, at the end of this lesson, we learn this is to have objective. To have moral view is, without making students realize that, they are being imparted a lesson or a value or a skill, they are made to experience, they are made to imagine, and from that imagination, from that experience, they deduce values, they deduce lessons, and that is in fact the method which both the Western epistemology or the Indian critical traditions they convey. And because we are in this world of globalization, and because of many factors, we don't really, we are now not conscious of all this. we just go after marks and go after ranks, and therefore we need a book like this. I'm on the executive of NAC. In NAC, we have the 7th criterion. The 7th criterion of NAC, emphasizes on 2 points. One is, values, and the other is best practices. Values and best practices, are not two different and distinct domains. They are perfectly integrated. So even from NAC point of view, we insist on, we encourage institutions, to go for programs which indirectly impart soft skills and values. So in this context, because the Telangana government is also hosting a program next month here, on the best practices of NAC. In that context, this book is, value addition, and I went through the book, almost all the lessons, and each lesson and each unit gives a life situation, and each unit gives an experience. And I congratulate all the course writers for bringing out this brilliant book where, as I told you before, skills and values are nudged into the minds of students indirectly, not directly. And because you are talking about situations and you are talking about strategies, you talk about solutions. And because this book has all the three: situation, strategy, and solution, and this book is a good addition, and I certainly recommend this book. In fact, soon when we have the Board of Studies meeting in Usmania University, we will make this book one of the reference books for all UG courses and all technical courses. And because I really see this book is worth, I congratulate once again all the course writers, and I congratulate the management of St. Mary's College, the principal, and all other members there. And I thank Cambridge University Press, for coming forward to publish this book. Thank you, and thanks you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir, for that perspective. Thank you for all the time that you've spent, those tireless hours editing the book and going through it. And what a wonderful perspective you've given us. It was almost like listening to a lecture from you. Thank you once more. May you get well soon. We are all praying for you. Thank you once more, sir. It always happens that when you're hosting this program of this magnitude, you miss out on important things. I had a script with me, but I missed out something very important. I, at this moment, would request Principal Professor Matthew George to speak, because I somehow seem to be in a hurry and I gave the opportunity to Weil sir. But it's good that we heard his perspective as the editor, as someone who's reviewed the book, and now we will be asking the person who actually began it all, along with Dr. Maitri Shinde, to start thinking or planning or having a goal like this about a book of this magnitude. I apologize to our principal, Matthew George, sir. Sir, I would like to take this opportunity to ask you to speak on this occasion.
Thank you, Michael.
Sorry about it.
No. I must clarify that I'm not the one who began it. It is Dr. Maitri and her team and all of you. So I wouldn't want to take even a bit of credit for that. Respected Professor Weil Srinivas, Professor Mohan Raj, and Mr. Nagaraju, resource personnel for the FTP, Ms. Alankrita Mahendra, Dr. Shinde, Mr. Michael Preetham, and all the authors, faculty colleagues from St. Mary's and other institutions, ladies and gentlemen. If this book launch was a physical offline event, which ideally it should have been, we would all have gathered today at at the theatrics of St. Mary's College. I wish that was the case. Now imagine that you've heard of St. Mary's College but have never been here before, and you want to visit the place. What do you do? If it was a decade ago, you needed to know someone who was here before, and then you had to ask them. If you didn't have that option, then you had to keep asking people where Hyderabad is, and then get to Hyderabad, then get to Yusuf Gura, find where Yusuf Gura is, and then come to Yusuf Gura, and then find people. And well, if you find the right people on the way, you reach sooner than if you didn't. Today, what you do is simple, right? You turn on Google Maps, and you don't need anybody's help to get there. Static maps of the past have given way to dynamic ones thanks to the efforts of many people working behind it, or who work behind it. Original maps were developed by cartographers who first explored the terrain themselves. Over time, maps got better and better, and now we have got what we have got in our gadgets. Across board, everyone agrees that soft skills are critical to life success. So for a long time, a lot of people knew the destination. What was missing was a roadmap. The basic sketch of a roadmap came in the form of early syllabi documents, and then they got better and better, and now we have got this fantastic book published by Cambridge. The best thing about Google Maps is that you don't need to know anyone on the way to get to your destination. All you need to know is how to use that map on a gadget. Democratization of a solution has happened, removing several layers of privileged inequalities on the way. This book by Shinde et al., published by Cambridge University Press, I believe is doing exactly that. Of course, like any of us who use Google Maps know, maps need to keep up with the times all too often. A sudden road closure, a new building, or a new road, and things change, and the maps will need to change soon. So will be the case with this book as well. Newer requirements will emerge in the field, but for now, I believe this is the best roadmap available. The FDP that follows would equip users of the book even better, and that should create an even more level playing ground for youngsters in whose lives this book could be a game changer. I'm proud of the fact, like Michael rightly said, that the basic idea of the book came out of the in-house finishing school program that we ran for our final year students. I am happy that Cambridge University Press chose to publish this work. Let me once again congratulate the authors, cartographers in my opinion, and Professor Y.L. Srinivas, the reviewer of this outstanding output. I mean, I'm grateful to Professor Srinivas for writing the foreword as well. May this be just the beginning of a series of productive work in the field. Wish you all continued success in the days ahead. I am confident that this book will take many students places, both geographically, personally, and professionally. Thank you very much. Congratulations to all the authors once again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for that. You would have missed out a perspective that normally comes from sir, which is a little different from others. We've heard about how he sort of brought it all together. Thank you so much for all that you have done. Once more, sorry for that slight flip. Thank you so much, sir. At this time, I would like to take this opportunity to once more thank both the speakers so far. I'm sure we've enjoyed what they have given us in the form of their perspective. And not only that, they have sort of helped us to understand the importance of soft skills and importance of personality development, and also the importance of a roadmap for people to sort of follow. Thank you so much to Y.L. Srinivas sir and our principal sir. This whole thing wouldn't have been possible without what Cambridge University Press has done for us by accepting this book. And I would like to take this opportunity to invite Ms. Alankrita Mahendra. I would read a little bit about her. There are a lot of accomplishments of Ms. Alankrita, but I would be just touching upon some of those accomplishments. Ms. Alankrita is the Associate Publishing Manager, Higher Education and Assessment, Cambridge University Press and Assessment, India. She has 7.5 years of experience in ELT publishing for higher education at Cambridge University Press. She has about 18 years of teaching experience as lecturer in English. She has experience in authoring, editing, and publishing ELT content. She has also authored 5 English language and communication skills books for Cambridge University Press, India. And she leads the editorial team to deliver multi-component publishing programs, ensuring a clear growth path for the editors by providing opportunities for professional development and upskilling. Before she comes and speaks to all of us, I would request once more all the participants to mute their audios and turn off their videos. I would like to invite Ms. Alankrita Mahendra to address the audience.
Thank you, Mr. Michael. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are, madam.
A very good morning to all of us. Professor Matthew George, Professor Vail Srinivas, Professor Mohan Raj, our esteemed author team, particularly our lead author, Maitri Shinde, who's also a good friend now, and all the participants of today's FDP, the facilitators, Dr. Rajitha Singh and Mr. Nagaraju. I deem it an honor to be part of this event, and I'm really thankful to St. Mary's College for having organized this book launch. Now, just to brief you on the whole journey that made this book possible, when we were approached initially with a proposal for this particular manuscript, we immediately lapped it up because it was in keeping with our publishing plans. Cambridge has been working for the last couple of decades with a whole lot of higher education institutions across the country. We work with about 15 to 20 universities, both central and state, and private universities, to custom publish their course books for them. Additionally, we also have a large range of global products that we map to local requirements. So when this manuscript came up, we realized that it was in complete alignment with our current publishing focus, which happens to be skilling. With all the efforts made by NSDC in the skilling field, Cambridge has been working with them, supporting them, working with a lot of sector skill councils and custom publishing skilling content for them. So in light of that, and the fact that UGC had launched the Jeevan Kaushal Life Skills program, we thought the time was right to bring out a product of this kind. And I would like to take a moment to congratulate the entire author team who have been very accomplished, who have given us the right base to have brought out this product into the market. And a special word of mention here for Professor Maitri Shinde and Professor Mohan Raj, whose inputs have been invaluable. And in Professor Maitri Shinde's case, she has exemplified the behaviors and values that the whole content is about with the way she has handled the whole project from start to finish. And I would also like to briefly apologize to Maitri and Professor Mohan Raj for putting them through all the rigorous processes that Cambridge has in place. But I hope that has contributed to the quality of the product. And I hope both teachers and students derive optimum benefit from it. So I'm very grateful to have been part of this whole process. Now, as far as life skills go, I would like to echo what Professor Matthew George and Professor Srinivas have rightfully, been saying about the need for filling the gap between academia and the industry. For a long time, we have been talking about this gap that makes employability a challenge for most of our graduates. Now, I have also been, working towards filling the gap in some way, and having straddled both the worlds, the teaching world for close to 2 decades, and now having been part of publishing and being involved in syllabus consultancy and curricular development and also content development, I have seen that there is still a little bit of a gap that we need to traverse. And ideally, I would say it would help if we could somehow create an ecosystem where even teachers get to experience the corporate world, maybe by way of some kind of internships, maybe some kind of industry academia linkage programs. That would be ideal, where the teacher herself or himself has experienced the world that they are preparing their learners for. And in the meantime, while we reach there, books like the current one, I think, will help us fill that gap and help students prepare themselves for the workspace. Now, if you look at the content of the book, you will see that we have punctuated the content with a whole lot of tasks. And that is the typical Cambridge approach to learning. We believe in learn by doing. And I'm in the midst of teachers who understand the value of application-oriented teaching. So as it's been rightly pointed out, this book presents situations, case studies, and then helps the students apply their critical thinking skills, their problem-solving skills, their solution-orientedness to find solutions. Now, that is an approach that mostly has worked with our content. And I, for one, believe that content to a large extent drives methodology within the classroom. So I hope by shaping the content based on what we call the life competencies framework, this is a global framework that Cambridge has created, keeping in line with the 21st century skills that are required in today's world. So I hope the content that is based on this latent framework helps the teachers deliver the right kind of teaching and the learners imbibe the right skills so that they are, when they step into the working world, they are prepared. And the industry does not have to spend time, effort, and money in getting them to be productive. So with that hope, I would like to bring this to a close because I don't want to hold you back from the FDP session. That is the crux of today's event. So once again, I congratulate and thank the entire author team and St. Mary's College for having provided this opportunity. And we hope for more such associations in future. Thank you, one and all. And have a good, invigorating session today.
Thank you so much, madam, for those wonderful words, which could only come obviously from an expert who's done this, been there, done that. And thank you for that perspective coming from the Cambridge University Press. We are indeed grateful to you for all that you've done for us and for making this book a possibility. Dr. Maitri Shinde, the head of the Department of English and a good friend, has pioneered this project and deserves a lot of praise for believing in the team of writers. She was relentless in her efforts and took upon herself the demanding task of editing the book. There were occasions when we never believed that this is going to become a possibility, especially when we had to continuously go through those rigors of editing, re-editing, adding stuff to the book. And there were times when we felt that this may not actually be a possibility. But if there was someone who believed, it was Dr. Maitri Shinde. And as I earlier said, principal, because he kept pushing us to do it. And I would hear about the conversations with him, between him and Dr. Maitri. She would share it with me, and today we can see the reality. Thank you so much for both of you. I would request Dr. Maitri Shinde to speak about this book. This is your opportunity to talk to the participants and the authors, madam.
Thank you, Michael. Michael, sir, for those wonderful words. In fact, it's been pats and bouquets since morning from all the people, from all the guests, from all the dignitaries. And I see the chat box is full, congratulating all the authors. So thank you, everyone, from the bottom of my heart. Now, the idea of starting this book, as Principal Sir, Professor Matthew George has reiterated, and Michael Sir has been talking about it, we started with saying that, when we have the content developed for our finishing school, why don't we publish? So that's how our journey started.
Madam,
when I spoke to Professor Mohan Raj, sir, he said that,
Madam, your voice is breaking. Now I think you're audible. Yeah, we missed out about 20 seconds of what you said. Yeah, I think Madam has some technical issue. Please bear with us.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you. Yeah, please go ahead, Madam.
Yeah, the content of life skills and personality development has been created to cater to all those demands that need students to be better prepared for future and better employed with a better return on educational investment. Additionally, the course book also takes into account most of the learning objectives to address and implement the three recognized main axes of life skills: communication skills, management skills, and leadership skills. The book aims to build on these tenets while living up to the emphasis on the internationalization of education in the new Education Policy 2020. The units of this book have been designed to give ample scope for learners to observe and learn intensively, question and analyze critically, interpret and evaluate methodically both individual skills and skills in their interconnectedness to evolve as better and skilled professionals. As stakeholders of this book, both the teachers as facilitators and students as active participants will be able to involve in an academic transaction that demands inclusive and interactive teaching and learning. This book, with its learn by doing approach, encourages students to be more participative in the classroom and leads to successful inculcation of the desired life skills. On behalf of all the authors, I wish the learners all the very best for their careers. At the outset, I express my sincere gratitude to our principal, Professor Matthew George, for launching the book. I express my gratitude to Cambridge University Press. My special thanks to Ms. Alankrita Mahindra, CUP Associate Manager, who validated the content that we presented. We certainly felt like a dream come true when CUP agreed to publish our work. Professor Mohan Raj, an expert in curriculum design, has been a strong pillar of support ever since the idea of bringing out a publication was conceived. It wouldn't have been possible without his inputs. I sincerely must admit that every inch of my experience with Sir has been very, very enriching. I thank Professor Y.L. Srinivas Sir for his wonderful foreword after having reviewed the book thoroughly. I thank all the authors for agreeing to our idea of collaboration. They have been very, very patient while incorporating all the changes that we've asked them to do time and again. Finally, I thank all my department members who have been very supportive ever since I said, let's publish. It appeared as though I was dreaming big, but the dream turned into a reality with the effort of my team. At the outset, I thank all the participants for joining us from different parts of the country for this book launch. I hope you will find the book equally interesting as it has been in the making of it. Thank you, one and all. I now hand over the session to Dr. Rajitha Singh, my colleague. Assistant Professor, Department of English, St. Mary's College. Over to you, Rajitha ma'am.
Thank you so much, Maitri ma'am. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hearty congratulations to the entire team for their untiring efforts and dedication to come up and make their dream come true. So I will be taking up the session for now. I'm your host for this session. I'm Dr. Rajitha Anand, Assistant Professor, Department of English, St. Mary's College. It is a privilege to extend a warm welcome to our honorable guest and resource persons, Professor Mohan Raj and Mr. M. Nagaraju, for the Faculty Development Program on Integrating Life Skills into the English Classroom, organized by the Reading Club of St. Mary's College in collaboration with English Language Teachers Association of India. I also take this opportunity to warmly welcome our respected principal, Professor Matthew George, teaching fraternity of our college, and our dear participants for today's session. We are delighted to have 80 and more participants from different parts across the country, such as Maharashtra, Assam, Kerala, Orissa, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Delhi, Goa, and more. In an ever-growing technology-driven world, it becomes imperative to integrate life skills into academics. Life skills are like building blocks that help youth to become more competent, to gain confidence, to deal effectively with adversities, and promote their overall development. They play a pivotal role in making students better equipped to cope with challenges and empower them for a bright future ahead. I'm sure our dear participants are very much interested in today's session. So we hope that you will find it very enriching experience, valuable and productive session. It is a privilege to warmly welcome our first resource person for the day, Professor Mohan Raj. Sir has worked as a teacher educator at English and Foreign Language University, Hyderabad. A warm welcome to you, sir. He has teaching experience of more than 40 years. Sir has published nearly 200 research papers in national and international journals, and also has authored course books and books on teaching English. Professor Mohan Raj is the recipient of Professional Teaching Award from TESOL in the year 2010. His major areas of interest are teacher education, materials development, and educational technology. At present, he is working as a visiting professor at the Netaji Subhash Open University, developing their curriculum courseware for MA ELT program. So I once again warmly welcome you, sir. I request Mohan Raj sir to address the audience.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rajitha Singh. Good morning, everyone. It's a very happy occasion. And in fact, it's a double whammy. In fact, three things are happening at the same time. First, obviously, the book launch, which just got over. The second thing is the St. Mary's College is starting a reading club in collaboration with LTI. And I'm here on behalf of LTI to declare open the reading club. And the third one is the FDP, where the resource person is Professor Nagaraju, a very dear friend and an able teacher trainer. I'm very happy to be associated with all these three functions in one go. I'm just representing LTI. Okay. At the outset, I should congratulate Professor George Matthew, the principal of the college, the management of St. Mary's College, Dr. Maitri Singh, and all her colleagues, Dr. Alankrita, who became a good friend in the course of my interaction with her, and Professor Nagaraju, and many others in the gathering who I find are very, very close friends to me, Krishna Chaitanya, Jyotsna, and many others, Sudha and others. We are today declaring open the reading club. And all I need to say is, why do we need a reading club now? Does it have any relevance at all? That's what I want to talk about. We are becoming increasingly aware that the reading habits are on the decline, and the students are catching up with this disease fairly fast. Somehow, we want to arrest this and wean our students away from surfing the nets much more, and also get back to what is called page flipping, from net surfing to page flipping. That's what we want our learners to become, or in simple words, we want to develop reading habits. I'm very happy that St. Mary's College has taken the initiative to start the reading club. Already LTI has collaborated with several other institutes. We have quite a few reading clubs, and this is the first reading club in Hyderabad, and I'm very happy to declare it open. Some of the features of reading club and some of the functions that a reading club can do, I have just listed out, and I'll share them with you. First and foremost, the reading club should create a proper environment to help the members to take to reading. Okay, unless you have the right type of environment, I don't think one can really start reading. So what does it need? A spacious hall with some good furniture, proper storage for books, well-ventilated room, and this room should be flooded with reading material. Wherever your eye falls, you should be able to find some sort of reading materials and you should be able to access the books in the shelves fairly easily. And if you have such an environment, I'm sure one automatically takes to reading. This may look a little awkward, but an illustration, but I'll tell you, if you ever visit a barber's shop, the barber shop has so much of reading material. As you're waiting, you obviously pick up something or the other and tend to read. I'm not saying the reading club should become like that, but the availability of material must be easy, accessible, and one should be tempted to read. That's the point number one. Second, what type of materials should be made available in the reading club? Something that's not too long to read. See, something that you can browse through in a couple of minutes, maximum 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and something that's really interesting. Such things are very interesting. So let's reflect and see what it is that we like to read. Some snippets, probably jokes, cartoons, short stories, anecdotes of famous people, some interesting facts about nature, short write-ups on places of tourist interest, unknown or less explored places, healthcare, good recipes, etc. Long ago, several experiments were made in the United States, and this was called SRA, that is Scientific Reading Association. They developed a set of cards called reading cards, which is popular as reading laboratory. In India, the same experiment was replicated by a very senior educator called Madhuri Ben Shah. She also was the chairperson of UGC. She developed a similar reading program for Indian learners, and this is called MLS, that is Multi-Level Skill Reading Laboratory. Subsequently, the institute where I worked, or the university where I worked, also took it up, and Orient Black Swan published these materials, and that was called English 400. Okay, all these are examples of reading materials. What do they have? They have just a 4-page booklet, and this booklet is properly illustrated, and there is some sort of substantial reading material followed by a set of vocabulary exercises, followed by comprehension exercises and other tasks. And each box has about 250 cards graded, and there are 2 boxes, so they have 500 cards. And if you simply spread these 500 cards across the floor, across the room, across the table, people can come pick up any of the reading cards and start reading. That motivates the children. That motivates our learners to read. Can we find such materials ourselves? It's not very difficult. These days, we can have computer generated materials, and on a single sheet of paper, if we can laminate it and spread it across, I think that will make excellent reading materials to be stored in the reading club. Point number 3, reading can introduce interest in the learners, and they can take to it. It should become some sort of a natural habit. Reading should become a natural habit. I should not be forced to read. I should be motivated to read. It should become a habit with me to read. Can we do this? So if we can stack books which are about 100, 120 pages in length. See, think of a book like Animal Farm. If somebody finds a book like Animal Farm on the shelf, and if he or she just picks it up and starts reading page number 1, I'm quite sure till the person reaches the end, the person will not put the book down. There are quite a few books like that. I'm just thinking of Animal Farm as one example. The examples can be inexhaustible. Recently, I was reading a book called Amader Shantiniketan. This is a book by a lady called Shibani Pandey. She's not a Bengali, but she has written this book in Bengali, and she was a student in Shantiniketan when Rabindranath Tagore was still alive. And she has narrated her experiences of student days in Shantiniketan. Makes an extremely, extremely interesting reading. The entire book is just about 150, 160 pages, but each page is worth reading. It makes for a very interesting reading. You can have books on students' life. You can have books on adventure. You can have books on romance. You can have books on anything, history, books on the social problems. Anything is welcome. Next, students, to make them read, probably need a bit of coaxing. Means if there are books, but if they don't find a purpose to read, then they may not take to books. So how do we make them read? Perhaps every reading club can have a monitor. Every reading club can have a coordinator, and the coordinator can give some sort of a hints or help give some sort of a synopsis of each book, or be there available to the students and give some sort of a help to choose the right book and start reading. This is also a possibility. And maybe on every book, there can be some sort of a specialized, customized blurb that can be produced and can be pasted on the book, so that the learner, before opening the book, just reads the blurb and gets interested in reading. How to read a book is also a matter of training, and this needs to be offered to every learner. Then 5th point I want to make is that you should convince the member to become members of the reading club, and that reading is a personal activity. It is not something of you don't read for others, but you read for yourself. This is something that everyone has to be convinced about. And once a person is convinced about it, the reading becomes a reality. I think, and reading club, more than anything, should promote friendship, promote a sense of healthy competition, promote a sense of social skills. The type of book that was launched a little while ago talks about personality skills, it just does not talk about personality skills. It also talks about the need for social etiquette and social skills. Reading club is one place where social skills, personality development can happen extremely well. Therefore, I am doubly happy that the launching of the reading club is combined with the launching of a book on personality skills. So our aim is to help students. Our aim is to help students grow. Our aim is to help students become independent readers. If they become independent readers, they can sustain themselves. With this, I once again congratulate St. Mary's College for taking up this initiative to start the reading club. And thank you very much for asking me to give a talk. Congratulations, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your words of encouragement. We are very happy that you have shared your experiences, your ideas, and giving us valuable inputs on the importance of reading club, how important it is to inculcate the habit of reading among students. I'm sure that this will certainly help to promote social skills and personality development and help them in the longer run. So thank you very much once again, sir. I now take this opportunity to warmly welcome our next resource person for today's program, Mr. M. Nagaraju. A warm welcome to you, sir. Sir has taught English language and literature to graduate and postgraduate students at various colleges till he retired from government service in 2012 as a selection grade lecturer in English. Earlier, he served as a principal of postgraduate college for 5 years. Sir was a conscientious and popular teacher for over 36 years with many additional responsibilities. He made innovative efforts to make learning an interesting and enjoyable experience for his students. Sir has organized more than 15 educational tours across the country. Nagaraju sir is a master trainer in communicative language teaching techniques, certified by the US State Department English Language Fellow Program. He is a popular resource person in communication skills, soft skills, and employability skills, and has been invited to speak on several current academic and general subjects at various educational forums and workshops, including UGC-sponsored orientations and refresher courses and national seminars. Nagaraju sir has conducted workshops for several other universities and institutions. So once again, a hearty welcome to you, sir. Before beginning the session, just a few instructions to our dear participants. I request you all to mute your videos. Please do not share your screen. And if any of the participants have some queries, please type the same in the chat box. Our resource person will answer the questions during the question answer session. And towards the end of the session, we will be sharing the feedback form. So I request you participants to please be attentive and kindly cooperate. So thank you. And now I hand over the session to Nagaraju sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Rajitha. Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. I think you have to make me a co-host so that I can share my slideshow. While I'm being made a co-host, let me share one or two things with you. Professor Mohan Raju started a presentation by calling it a double whammy. I would like to call it a triple whammy or a multiple whammy or something else, because lots of things are happening together today. One, I've been a part of this wonderful opportunity for the launch of this great book, which I went through in detail over the last 10 days or so. And today, I had the very special privilege of sharing a platform with a teacher of mine, with a past student of mine, quite a lot of past colleagues of mine, and many teachers from various departments of English from different colleges. So I consider it a very, very special privilege that has come my way. And I would like to take the next few minutes to tell you about 2 or 3 of my experiences in brief before I begin sharing my screen. One about this reading club that has been launched today. I have some very interesting experiences. I tried something very similar on WhatsApp. A few years ago, I am an admin of a WhatsApp group where I shared something to read every day in the WhatsApp group, and I requested the readers and the members of the group to share their thoughts, share their views on the material that was shared. So instead of creating a physical space with a flood of books, as Professor Mohan Raj put it, I created a virtual space where people could read. It was not very successful for quite obvious reasons, but I made that effort. Long ago, there was a software called Gupshup. And when I was teaching in a rural college, I used that platform to create something very similar, but that was for students. So I used to send some micro, nano reading modules, reading one paragraph at best a day for students to read and respond. And that was quite successful. I had about 70,000 students in my Gupshup group then. So that's something I remember forever. Yesterday, as soon as this group was created and I was made a member of this group, I shared 2 handouts, 2 flyers for reading. And I thought there would be a lot of response on that because I said, please read these 2 handouts and let me know if you'd like any specific point to be discussed during this presentation today. And you know how many people responded? Quite surprising. Not even one. To be very frank with you, there was one response, only one. And that response was not about the 2 reading materials that were posted there, but it said, sir, should we be there till the end of the program to earn a certificate? That was the question that was asked. Unfortunately, I could not answer that question because I have no answer to that. And then maybe Maitri or somebody else will answer that. So I think the effort that you've made to promote reading skills and also to encourage the habit of reading, I think is quite praiseworthy. I appreciate it. I'm sure there'll be students, teachers, and others who would take to it and make it a wonderful success. And then one more thing that I would like to share with you is I also, like Maitri and the entire team of authors, had the opportunity to publish a book through Cambridge University Press. I co-authored a book titled Poly Skills. This book was almost a similar book on life skills and professional skills and soft skills. And this was published by Cambridge University Press exclusively for the students of polytechnic colleges in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. So it was published about 12 years ago, and I titled that, and then I wrote articles. I wrote, some components in that, and I coordinated with the entire program. And finally, I don't know if Alankrita is still there, but I have been doing quite a few programs for Cambridge University Press to orient teachers to the various levels of interchange book that they publish. And very recent, last week I did a program in Ranchi. This was to introduce level 3 of the interchange program. So thank you, Alankrita. Thank you, Cambridge University Press. Thank you, St. Mary's. Thank you, Maitri. And thank you, every one of you, for this great opportunity that has come my way today. Let me share my, I think I still cannot share my slideshow. I think somebody has to make me a co-host. Where is that?
Moment, sir, I'm doing it.
Please. In the meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can start posting.
So you're the co-host now. You're the co-host.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Right. This is where we begin. And as we go ahead, I just would like to tell you that though you have been advised to switch off your microphones and videos, I personally would like you to switch on your microphones and videos and feel free, as long as there is no noise there and as long as there is no disturbance, you can keep your microphones unmuted and then you can intervene anytime. You can ask a question, you can share your thoughts, and you can contribute to the progress of this presentation. And in case if there are videos on, I cannot see you because when I'm in the presentation mode, I cannot see your videos, but still you can see each other. And also sometimes perhaps I'll get out of this presentation and then maybe I'll come on Zoom and may interact with you. As I wrote to you yesterday, I am going to invite some of you to share your thoughts, share your experiences, and maybe ask a few questions, etc. So let's begin. The title is Integrating Life Skills. This was the first title that was suggested to me by Maitri, and we expanded that into a little, more specific, integrating life skills into the English classroom. First, Maitri said, let it be integrating life skills into the classroom, because teachers of other subjects also are likely to participate in this. But maybe finally we decided, let's confine to the English classroom. While presenting one of the slides, I'll share with you why we wanted it to be the English classroom and not classroom in general. So integrating skills. So I have divided my presentation into 3 parts, and the 3 parts are one second. I think somebody has to keep admitting people, latecomers, because I cannot do both of them together. The host or any other co-host can keep admitting, or maybe you can throw it open. Anybody can just join. Okay. So there are 3 parts in this presentation. The first one is what are life skills? I'm not going to spend much time on that, maybe 5-10 minutes. We are already about 20-30 minutes behind the schedule, I think. And the second one is why teach life skills? This also I'll not spend much time because the answer is obvious. I don't need to discuss that. But the third thing is what's important to us, how to integrate life skills into the classroom, into what we teach, and make the process of learning, the facilitation easy so that students pick up life skills while they are being taught whatever subject they are being taught, whatever course, whatever content they are being taught. This is how I'm going to go ahead. And the first part that I'm going to go to is what are life skills. Will you please go to your web browser and search for Menti, M-E-N-T-I. Will you all take a minute to open your browser and type M-E-N-T-I, Menti, you can search in Google. And when you go there, most likely you'll find join a presentation. I think you can do that. Join a presentation.
Yes, sir.
Good. So when you go there, join a presentation, it asks you for a code number. And the code number you can see on the screen, 4878-1612. 4878-1612. In case you are very close to the screen, you can also aim at the QR code there and take a picture. It automatically takes you there. And submit that code. And once you've submitted, there is a question there. So you have to give 1 or 2 examples of what you think are life skills. It can be anything that you consider a life skill. Please give 1 or 2 examples. In case you're more than 2, you can even do multiple entries. For instance, you can enter 2 and you can again enter 2 more. I am just going to share what I see on the screen. I think you've entered that. Oh, that's great. Already answers are there. Lovely, beautiful. Collaboration, empathy, decision making, stress management. As you are typing them, you can see them on my screen. Soft skills, positive thinking, personality development, decision making, communication skills, and cooperation, leadership. What is that? Sincerity, positive thinking, time management. Lovely, beautiful, really good. I'm very happy that I think 32 of you have answered already. Maybe I'll wait for a minute longer. 33. You can see the number of people responding at the bottom on the right side of the screen. conflict management, body language. Yes, magic. What's that? Magic. I'm surprised what that is. Life skills, attitude, sincerity, social skills, self-motivation, decision-making, people skills, memory. Somebody said 10. I don't know what that is. That's a 10. Maybe I'll come to that. Okay, I understand. Life skills, thinking, personality development. Thank you very much. 42 of you have presented. I'm stopping this for a while so that I can go back to the presentation. Yeah, this is where we were. So thank you very much for giving all those answers. And I think almost everything that makes us better human beings, live a better life, and make the most of our lives is a life skill. I think it's very difficult to say that only these 4 are life skills, these 10 are life skills. I think there are a multitude of them. Anything that helps us adapt our behavior to the demands of developments around and promotes positive behavior in us and helps us deal effectively with the challenges of life. So anything that does this is a life skill. It can be as simple a thing as tying our shoelaces, taking a healthy shower and then polishing our shoes and presenting ourselves impressively, to very, very, very high order life skills like creative thinking, conflict resolution, etc. So any of these skills, I think you cannot read the text on the picture on the left side. I've deliberately done that a little blurred it so that, because there are too many of them, we did not spend time reading them. So anything that makes us live a better life, that makes us meet challenges in life, that helps us adapt ourselves to the evolving environment, and anything that helps us make the most of our lives, meet the purpose of our life, is a living skill, life skill, skill for life, whatever, right? Different names. But because we cannot deal with all of them, somebody wrote 10 there, perhaps this is what they had in mind. UNICEF at a global level conducted some kind of research, and they identified 10 important areas, 10 important skills, which they listed as life skills. Can I ask any one of you to unmute yourself and read all the 10 items you see on the screen?
So can I do it, sir?
Please do it.
Good morning, sir. This is Devi Datta from Hyderabad.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. So effective communication, critical thinking, decision making, creative thinking, empathy, coping with emotions, coping with stress, interpersonal skills, self-awareness, problem solving.
Thank you, Devi Datta. Thank you very much for helping us read the list. This is the list of 10 life skills listed by UNICEF. And for about 15 or 20 years, I think the same list has been used around the world, though it is not a definitive list and it does not say that there is nothing else which can be called a life skill. And most of them overlap each other, and then sometimes it's very difficult to distinguish whether a skill is a critical thinking skill or a decision-making skill and things like that. And I think all kinds of issues can be there about that, but don't worry too much about them. Let's see for the time being that these 10 are the life skills that we are going to deal with. The book that was launched in the morning, authored by Maitri and her team, also deals with quite a lot of most of them, and a few of the professional skills also are covered in that. So these are the 10 skills as identified by UNICEF. But let's move a little further and see some of them, not all, some of them. For instance, communication skills, I don't need to tell you much. I think every English teacher is directly engaged in the process of building effective communication skills, especially over the last 1 decade or 2 decades. I think English teaching has mostly become language teaching, and language teaching has become communication teaching. So we are focusing a lot on communication skills building. When we were students long ago, I think I must tell you at this point, I retired from government service some 13 years ago, and I was a student at college maybe more than 55, 60 years ago. So when I was a student at college, I mean, English was a class of English literature. I mean, there was some grammar. English textbook and grammar were the two things that were taught us. But today it's not like that. I think most English classes are language classes, and even we don't even call them language classes. We are communication skills classes. So I don't need to discuss that in detail. Similarly, a few other things I'm not going to talk about, but let me move on to a few other things that I think perhaps we can focus on. I think you can read what you see on the screen. There is a skill, there is one skill that helps us know ourselves, helps us look within, know our strengths, know our weaknesses, know the opportunities that we have around, and the threats and challenges. I mean, in case we do not handle them properly, in case we do not take care of them, they can be great threats and challenges to us. Then this skill also helps us know what we like, what we dislike, what's our passion, what's our life goal, what are our concerns, and a lot of other things. What skill is that? Can you tell me, anyone? What skill is this that helps you know yourself? Anyone can unmute and tell me.
Self-awareness, sir.
Thank you so much.
SWOT analysis.
That's really very, very quick. Yes, it's self-analysis, self-awareness, knowing oneself, the skill of knowing oneself, the skill of knowing, looking within. So this is a skill that is a life skill. I think absolutely no controversy about that. I think this skill needs to be developed, but unfortunately, not many students know how to look within. They don't know what they are. Maybe all of you might have experienced asking students in the class, I mean, what their passions are, what they like, what they dislike, what their strengths are. Many of them, many students struggle to answer even such simple questions because they've never asked themselves, they've not been trained to ask themselves. I think I sit on some interview panels for some companies, and when we go, even very simple questions, can you tell me something about your strength, something about your weaknesses, something, well, what do you, I mean, they cannot say anything beyond a ready-made sentence that they prepared. So they already have a ready-made answer and they have come prepared for that, and they just utter it and nothing more than that. So even simple things like, what do you like? For instance, when I asked a group of students recently in an engineering college, this was about a few months ago, when I went there, when I asked the first student, can you tell me what food do you like most? And this boy, the first one said, sir, I like Hyderabadi biryani. And when I asked at least 10 others after that, they could not think of anything else. Everybody said, I also like biryani. I also like Hyderabad biryani. So, I mean, maybe if all 10 of them really like Hyderabad biryani, and if they said it, that too, they don't make a sentence. They don't say, I like Hyderabad biryani. Or if you ask the next question, why do you like Hyderabad biryani? They can't say anything else. So that's all. The first sentence is the end of it. And the first answer also is a one-word answer. So it is the teacher's responsibility. I mean, I'll not call it a teacher's responsibility, but it is the need. It is an important need for students to be self-aware and know themselves. I mean, in case we will see how to develop this skill a little later, but this is one skill that we need to develop in students. And the second skill that I'd like to talk about is, maybe I'll begin with an example. These days, we find hundreds, thousands of WhatsApp messages every day, just like a flood. I think I get on an average 1,500 to 2,000 messages a day. All of them are forwards without exception. I think there are maybe 0.1% original ones, and 99.9% of them are just forwards. They get something, they like it or dislike it or whatever, they just forward it. They don't distinguish between whether it's fake or real, whether it's wrong or right, whether it's good or bad, whether they should reject it or accept it. No, they don't apply any yardstick to measure either the authenticity or the usefulness of any of these things. They are not capable of objective evaluation to check whether the message is good or bad, right or wrong. Socrates suggested the triple filter test. So unless something is true and good and useful, don't pass it on. Just, discard it. This is what he suggested thousands of years ago. And we are still not applying that measuring yardstick. We do it very, very thoughtlessly. So we don't even assess the consequences of forwarding some message without knowing its consequence, etc. So again, can somebody please unmute and then tell me what skill is this? This skill is this ability to distinguish the fake from the real. Any one of you? What skill is it that helps you distinguish between wrong and right, fake and real, good and bad?
Critical analysis.
Thank you so much. Again, this is critical thinking, critical analysis. This is a life skill again. This is a very, very important life skill. And I think our students must learn this skill. Otherwise it's very difficult for them to live a good life. If they take everything for granted, if they don't distinguish between this and this, and if they can't see the bright and the dark, and they cannot distinguish between night and day, I think just thoughtlessly forwarding things and thoughtless telling things, spreading rumors, I think this is doing great damage to all of us. That's why the students must be able to think critically, which is a very important life skill to develop. And as I told you in the beginning, so this helps them become better human beings, live better lives. Okay, let's move on. This is yet another skill that helps us understand problems and identify all the available possible solutions, and of all the alternative solutions that are possible, choosing the best, trying it and acting on that, and ensuring that success is easier, possible, etc. Can you again please tell me what skill is this?
Decision making.
Thank you. Lovely. That's really good. Great. Decision making skills. So students must also, not only students, I think life skills are for everybody. In our context, students, teachers, the general public, everybody must be capable of making the right decisions at the right time, the right point, to lead better lives and to adapt to situations. Then this is another skill called creative thinking skill, which helps us see things in lateral ways, thinking outside the box, thinking laterally. It helps us find novel solutions. It helps us generate lots of new ideas. Look at this just 5-second video. This is normal. This is creative. That's all. So thinking of creative ways of handling problems, handling issues, and thinking laterally, coming up with solutions, impossible looking, but unique, different, creative solutions is another skill. So because life throws up lots of challenges, almost every day, every moment we see new challenges. And unless we are capable of thinking creatively and finding new solutions to new problems or existing problems, I think life cannot be better. So students and teachers and everybody must have creative thinking skills too. And there is another skill, very, very important, especially for young students, ability to handle their emotions, ability to cope with emotions. So express their emotions freely, frankly. I think they must not be taught to suppress their emotions. Sometimes, unfortunately and unknowingly, we do that. But maybe they must have the freedom to express their emotions. And in case there are any negative feelings, they must have a strategy to overcome them, to cope with them. That is the skill to cope with emotions. Then coping with stress is again another very, very, very important life skill. So students go through lots of different kinds of trauma at various times because they take things not very seriously, and they don't take things that are seriously. This is the problem with them, many of them. So in case we develop a positive attitude among them, and then if you encourage them to accept reality as it is, I think we can teach them to cope with stress. This is yet another skill. I have again this last one. This is again a 10-second video. Please watch it a little carefully because it's very short. You have to tell me what skill is this. Are you all ready? Yes, I think. So please watch the video and tell me what skill it is. Yeah.
Empathy.
Thank you.
Empathy.
So I think you're all a very, very brilliant lot of teachers. Yes, you are right. This is empathy. So the man on the motorcycle came there and bought an umbrella, and he realized that this boy who's selling the umbrellas perhaps needs that umbrella more than he himself, and he gifts it back to that boy and leaves. Empathy is yet another skill. I think the kind of ragging that's happening on engineering college, medical college campuses, and the kind of trauma that students are going through on several different occasions. All this can be easily resolved if we develop values and life skills such as empathy, kindness, emotional management, etc., etc. So these are some of the samples that I talked about, some of the 10 skills that we saw.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. We are not able to hear you.
I think, what about others?
So now you're audible, sir.
Now
Right.
you're yes,
Good,
sir.
good,
Thank you,
good,
sir.
good. Maybe there was an interruption. So the 6 or 7 examples that I showed you are from the list of the UNICEF list of life skills. But I wanted to add one to that 10. I think personally that an ability to learn, a willingness to learn, a passion to learn is perhaps more important than all these life skills. And if a student has this knack of learning things, I think all other skills can be automatically learned. So it is our responsibility to inculcate, to instill this ability to learn new things. I mean, we were talking about the library, we were talking about reading books, etc., in the earlier sessions. So if a student knows that it's not just the classroom, what he learns in the classroom is not enough. There is a lot more to learn. There is something called a reference book. Textbook is not all. There is something beyond that. And it's not just the teacher that is the only resource that he has, but he has many other resources to learn from. And there is a lot more to learn, because what we teach in the classroom perhaps is available elsewhere also, but there are other things that we cannot teach in the classroom because of various constraints that we have. Time is one constraint, syllabus completion is one constraint, examination pattern is one constraint. So we work under some constraints. So the teacher cannot take up the responsibility of doing everything. So if the student realizes that there is a lot beyond the classroom perhaps is only some kind of a spark, some kind of an ignition. And if a teacher arouses, if the teacher ignites that spark in the students, and the students are made to realize that there's a lot more to learn and they can learn on their own if they have that passion, perhaps this is equally important for teachers also. Teachers also cannot stop studying, stop learning, stop being students. So if we realize that we can never stop learning whatever we are doing, wherever we are, however high we are, and if we learn to adapt to new skills, I think this is a more important life skill than the ones that are listed there. So I think we need to look at this as well. So that was my part 1 presentation. We just took a very quick look at what life skills are. Perhaps you already knew all this, but still we refreshed it. So let's next go to why should we teach life skills? So I have just 2 slides on this, and let me discuss them with you. Maybe before I show this to you, would anybody like to answer this question? Why should we teach life skills? Anyone? Maybe I'll stop sharing for a while and then I'll see you on screen. Perhaps. Yeah. Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please. Yes,
Devi Datta again.
Yeah.
So I think life skills are important because these are the skills that help us to lead a life in a proper way.
Good. Thank you. So these skills are important for us to lead a good life. Thank you. Anyone else? A 1 sentence answer, please. Why do we? Sorry?
For proper socialization.
I think.
Prepare them for real life situations.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah.
Hello, good morning. Yeah, strengthen our
To
strengthen our life.
Strengthen our
Strengthen
lives.
our life.
To strengthen our lives. Okay, right?
Prepare
Gaining
students.
confidence. For
Keshav,
confidence.
to build confidence. Okay, Keshav.
Good morning, sir.
Try to speak.
To impart manners and discipline along with kindness,
To inculcate manners.
especially empathy in
To build
every
empathy. Yes.
Yeah, to meet the challenges.
To lead a satisfied life, sir.
Okay, to lead a satisfied life.
Sir, to
meet the
inculcate a
challenges.
sense of responsibility.
To inculcate a sense of responsibility.
Good morning,
Sir,
sir.
to make a
complete person.
I know it's difficult because all of you are speaking together. Perhaps we cannot help each other.
it also motivate ourselves.
Right. Okay, thank you.
To meet the challenges, what we need.
Let's stop there. Thank you very much. Let me go back
Hello,
to my. Let me go back to my slide and tell you that these are some of the possible answers to the question that I asked you. Maybe I struggled to create an acronym with that. That's why perhaps I could not accommodate everything that I wanted to tell you on this. So to become better human beings, that of course I told you already, to enhance academic success, because when your life skills are strong, your academic success also becomes very strong. So both are interrelated. So then nurture social etiquette. There is a chapter on in Maitri's book, and enable self-discovery. We talked about self-awareness and all that, some kind of a SWOT analysis if we teach our students to try on their own, and foster efficiency. Somebody said this, to instill confidence. One of you said this, to track and achieve goals, etc. All these are various advantages of teaching life skills. So a student or a teacher or any individual who learns life skills has all these benefits. So easy to remember: benefit, BENEFIT, the first letters of all these answers, and add all the answers that you gave to that. That becomes a comprehensive list. And you can continue adding even after you leave this presentation. Perhaps you can make a longer and more comprehensive list of the advantages of teaching life skills. Okay, this is an important question. Perhaps this is related to what I said when I showed you my title slide. Who teaches life skills? Quickly, one or two of you. Who teaches?
Life, probably, sir.
Wonderful, thank you. Great. Life.
Our surroundings.
Problems teachers.
Our surroundings teachers, yes.
Past experience.
Yes.
Sir, our experiences.
Your experience with the surroundings, sir.
Great. Thank you so much. See the slide now. So I've divided that into three parts. Whatever you said is the same thing. So your answers are, just put on screen, that's all. So we have opportunity to learn life skills at home. So our family, our friends, our kith and kin, and everybody we grow up along with. Teaches us life skills in case we pick up from them and we pick up from there. I think we stand to gain. But unfortunately, let me add here that with the disintegration of the family, with the nuclearization of the family, and almost the zero availability of parental support at home because of various reasons again. So the opportunity for young people to learn life skills from their parents and family and friends is gradually declining. I think all of us agree on that. So home is no longer a very rich platform, a rich opportunity for us to learn our life skills. Unfortunate. In case people have homes which offer all these advantages of living together, helping each other, and then teaching each other and learning from each other, I think, they are at an advantage. Then the second arena, the second platform from where we can learn life skills is our own self. Somebody said that. So our own self. So our environment, our surroundings, our reflection, our thoughts, our feelings, our experiences, everything that happens to us around, in case, the condition is in case we utilize those opportunities, in case we use our eyes to see and ears to hear, etc., etc., etc. And if we apply our mind and analyze things and do all kinds of interpretations of happenings around, I think we stand to learn life skills. Fortunately and unfortunately, I think there are people who utilize this in a big way and equip themselves with life skills, and there are also people who are not alive to the happenings around, and then they don't watch things carefully, they don't apply their mind to things, they don't analyze things, and they are not capable of this kind of skills, and then they don't acquire them. Though the same kind of things are happening around for everybody. So some people learn from there, some people do not. Those who learn naturally stand to gain, and they are the successful ones. And coming to the last section of this, so there are opportunities for one to learn life skills from school, college, university. So there are two strands. One, the teacher helps the students learn, and the peers also help. So in fact, peers perhaps teach more than teachers can as far as life skills are concerned, because the teacher's focus is on, again, as I told you already, completing the syllabus, and then there is a skeleton within which there is a framework within which the teacher has to work. But peers outside the classroom and inside the classroom are teaching a lot more. So those who go to school, those who go to college and university naturally stand to gain because they have this opportunity. Don't ask me these questions or what happens to those who do not go to school. I mean, life is a school, and everything that happens around is school. School perhaps is a part of that self-learning. So even if you're not in a formal school, the world becomes your school. So let's not go into that discussion now. So here you see one of these circles surrounded with a golden ring outside. I deliberately put this here because I think the teacher plays a very, 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 very important role in imparting life skills to students. Why is it important? Because especially at the lower levels, school level, lower levels, students are greatly impacted by what teachers teach them and tell them and show them and demonstrate, and etc., etc. And the second thing is the teacher has a formally structured opportunity to teach skills. So a student has to sit in the class, even if it is a virtual class like this, a student has an opportunity to sit there and then spend time together and then work according to a certain structure and then learn along with others, learn with the teacher. That's why the teacher has a golden opportunity to teach, to inculcate, and to help learn life skills. So this is if you call it a facilitation process instead of a teaching process. So the teacher has the best opportunity to do that. Then luckily again, I think in the morning when the book was launched, it was said by almost everybody who was there that the book that has been published today, creates a convenient platform for students, because the book, I saw the book is structured in such a way that even the most incompetent teacher can use it as it is. One does not need any much creativity because the activities and everything are listed so well there. All that a teacher has to do is just execute what is said there. So the book says something like this. So please organize your students into pairs and give them this instruction, give them this handout, ask them to do this, ask them to sit down like this. So the book gives all such instructions. So it's very easy for any teacher to try them out. If a teacher is highly creative, I think you can further enhance, further build on that and then make the most of it. Any given point of time, anywhere, a book is only some kind of a text, is only a pretext. So it depends again on the teacher, how creative the teacher is, how willing the teacher is to experiment with things, and then how passionate the teacher is. This makes all the difference. So in case we, all of us here now, so if we decide to impart life skills to students, I think we have a great, wonderful, life-changing opportunity before us. So let's see how we can do that and then what we can do. Going on to the last part of it. So if a teacher decides to teach life skills, and if a teacher considers her or his profession a wonderful opportunity that has come to him or her to help students become better human beings and enjoy all the benefits that we have discussed, so that these young people with us are better human beings tomorrow. So we have an opportunity to integrate life skills into whatever we are teaching. I was telling you that we added English classroom there because most of us are English teachers, but it can be other teachers as well. Even if I'm teaching physics, mathematics, statistics, aeronautical engineering, whatever, I can still add some life skills into what I'm teaching, though language teachers have a greater opportunity because, I mean, the subject lends it to the subjects that we teach lend themselves to teaching soft skills, life skills, etc. So imparting life skills depends on all these factors. We need to have some good materials. We need to have appropriate and comprehensible and materials that are pitched at the right level for the students. So the choice of materials makes a lot of difference. For instance, I was talking about this book again. So very appropriately written, appropriately designed, keeping the level of the students and the needs of the students and the needs of the teachers in mind. Then effective facilitation, which is again the teacher's job. Finally, reliable assessment, because sometimes what happens, we teach things which are not tested and the student may not be interested because it's not a part of testing. As long as it's not an examination component, students may ignore things. So keeping that in mind, so the other three perhaps are not in our control. So because except in some autonomous colleges, teachers do not have freedom to choose their own materials. Teachers cannot manipulate the examination pattern. They cannot make any changes to the curriculum. I think they have very little control over that. Unfortunately, again, in many autonomous colleges also, teachers are not utilizing the wonderful opportunity they have, but they are just borrowing things from some university or other, and they are just using the same examination question paper, the same materials, the same textbook, with some minor 5%, 10% changes. That's all they are doing. But in case autonomy is used properly, perhaps the teacher can have greater control over all these things. So talking about non-autonomous college situation, I think I've highlighted the third point there. I think one thing at least the teacher has absolute control over, something that the teacher can handle on her own, something that she has absolute control over is her own facilitation, her own way of handling things in the classroom. If this one is taken care of, I think we'll have achieved a lot. The book, the handout that I shared with you yesterday, UGC guidelines. So one of the chapters deals with the pedagogy that is suggested. UGC suggested a pedagogy also to inculcate life skills. So what does it say? It says 20% face-to-face lectures, not for the regular content subjects, but for teaching life skills. So there is a paragraph on that. Maybe you can go back and then read that. If you want, I'll post it to the chat box again after I finish my presentation. So it says 20% of teaching life skills can be face-to-face in the classroom, but 80%, 4/5, huge, very, very huge. A huge portion of it must be practice-oriented. So, because skills cannot be taught, I think I don't need to tell you this. Content can be taught, knowledge can be transferred, but skills cannot easily be transferred. Skills can be demonstrated, but skills have to be practiced. Unless you practice, it can be driving, it can be dancing, it can be English language speaking, it can be any such thing. So, skills, communication skills, and all other life skills have to be practiced. So if they are not practiced, if they are simply taught, I think they yield very, very, very disappointing results. So teaching cannot be the right tool or enough tool to help us inculcate life skills among students. So 80% must be practice oriented. Again, a laboratory is not always practice oriented. Laboratory is only practicing in a simulated kind of a situation where people are practicing according to a manual, and then, for instance, take a beaker, they take a beaker, do this, do that, do that. That's all. That's not practice. Practice is something beyond that. Something is doing something on one's own. An English language laboratory, as long as there is something on a screen and then I am repeating a sentence or I am just adding a sentence to that is not enough practice. Unless the student goes out and interacts with people outside in real life situations, it cannot be really called practice. So the language lab practice is different and the outside real life practice is different. So I'm talking about real life practice. So if the student has an opportunity to practice these skills outside, and if that constitutes 80% of the time he's spending on learning that, I think that is fruitful. Then I think it's mentioned in your brochure also, the future is going to be blended learning. Why future? I think already we are going through a phase called blended learning, the virtual learning part, perhaps exclusive virtual learning no longer is yielding great results, and the classroom learning, the brick walls and all that. I think brick and mortar classrooms are perhaps no longer effective. And then we are already in an age when we are going through a process called blended learning. So partly synchronous, partly asynchronous, partly virtual, partly physical, partly flipped and partly straight. So these kinds of blending is already happening. Right? So we have to focus on that. And the pedagogy suggested by UGC includes a few items like flipped classroom approach, project-based learning, demonstrations, group discussion, simulation, and finally coaching, seminars, tutorials, etc. So these are all listed in UGC guidelines, and then you can go through that later. What I have done is, instead of making you go through that whole process, I have identified some methods that I think with my, I taught in rural colleges for 36 years. I taught English. I never taught life skills, soft skills, because those days they were not part of the curriculum. We did it perhaps involuntarily, and then we just did it as a part of whatever we are doing, and it just happened. But today, many of us are asked to teach. English teachers have a bigger responsibility compared to other teachers. English teachers are expected to be capable of doing anything and everything. That's good. That's a blessing to us. We must accept that and we must be happy about that instead of complaining. So what I did with my personal experience, I also, because over the last 12, 13 years, I've been doing teacher training programs. So I have lots of opportunities to interact with teachers and know their problems and then discuss some possible solutions with them. And in that light, I just would like to share with you that I've identified some 6 methods which perhaps will be very, 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 very useful to help us teach and facilitate life skills. The first one is brainstorming. Can anyone unmute yourself and one second, please. I'm sorry. Yeah, can anyone unmute yourself and please raise your hand, but raise your virtual hand. If you go to reactions, there is something called raise hand. If you raise hand, because all of you speak together, we cannot hear you. So one of you, please raise your hand and tell me if you ever tried brainstorming in your classroom. Please tell us, when did you do that? Why did you do that? How did you do that? And what was its effect? I mean, all that in a minute. Devi Datta has already raised her hand. Devi Datta, over to you.
Yes. We did brainstorming in our class, and especially when I actually was teaching them gender sensitization once, I asked the students what is gender sensitization, and I used this answer garden, which I learned it from you in one of the other conferences, one of the other FDPs. And I used that and was very, happy because students don't speak much in the online classes. So they answered it over there in the answer garden regarding gender sensitization. That is what I did.
Devi Datta, you started discussing gender sensitization with them and students gave you some answers. When they gave you some answers, what did you do with them?
So I discussed, like, they were confused between gender and sex.
Now, did you do that immediately or while they were giving you answers?
Sir. Immediately, sir. I showed them.
Make one change now. Make one change. When you do a brainstorm class or when you do brainstorming while teaching anything, first spend time accepting everything that they say without any questions, without any contradictions, without declining anything. Whatever they say, accept that and put that on the board. And after everything is written, maybe you can open that for discussion, and a few things perhaps which are better than others you can accept, etc., etc. So you can refine your brainstorming skill, and you can make it further useful to your students. I think, Alankrita, would you like to say something, please?
Yes, Mr. Nagaraju. My experience has been that brainstorming is accepting ideas in a non-judgmental way.
Great. Thank you so much, Alankrita. Thank you. That's what exactly I was trying to tell Devi that also. So non-judgmentally accept everything that your students tell you. So let them first feel confident. Let them feel, accepted. The moment a student finds, when the student finds that something that he said or she said is written on the board, he will be so happy, first of all, even if it's, wrong, even if it's not very relevant to what you are talking about. So, generating lots of ideas, good and bad, right and wrong, without, non-judgmental, that's the word that Alankrita is used. So that is brainstorming. So try this in your class. I'm absolutely sure your students will start participating, they'll start enjoying, and I'm sure this will be a wonderful learning, facilitating idea to teach life skills. Let me go back to my presentation. Once again, I'm sorry for stopping in the middle. And okay. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, we were here. So brainstorming. The second idea that I would like to suggest, of course, it's already there. Everybody knows it also, but maybe, I don't know if we've used it to teach life skills. Maybe used it for other things. Maybe we've been teaching soft skills. There's a very thin line between this and that. So discussion is another wonderful, practical, productive way of generating ideas and also teaching life skills. Again, I'm sorry for switching it off and on quite a few times. I'm stopping sharing again so that I can see you. If anyone raises your hand, I'll allow you to speak for a minute about how and when you used discussion as a tool, as a teaching methodology, as a pedagogic method to teach life skills. Anyone? Did you ever use discussion, open discussion, when every student, it's not much different from brainstorm, but there is a difference, of course. I think Radhika has raised. Radhika, you're actually applauding, but raising hand is slightly different. But anyway, you can do that. Radhika, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Good afternoon. So I used this tool while I was teaching GS, gender sensitization. So when the discussion came about, why is it needed to teach gender sensitivity?
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly the discussion started, the vibrations started.
Mm-hmm.
See, it is female oriented, it's like it is supporting more to women rather than supporting a male member like that or so. And when you start telling them the other point, why is it made necessary for us to teach that? Why is it that the university had to take a course to teach that level of students? Then slowly the discussion started coming back into the right direction.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Radhika. I have a question for you also.
Yes.
When you did this discussion, where were the students sitting? How were they sitting? Did you try any experiments with the classroom infrastructure? Did you try anything?
Also just open room, sir. It's just a classroom with only chairs, that's all.
Okay, that's good. That's good. You can also try sometime.
In a circular format.
Right.
Like one side of girls were sitting and other side boys were sitting.
Great.
And it was going on in that manner.
Wonderful. You can also try other, small experiments with that. And then when their students are discussing, you can put them into two separate groups, or you can allow them to come in, maybe, like you said, girls on one side, boys on one side, or maybe half of the class on one side, half of the class on the other side. Or maybe you can take an opinion poll at the beginning itself, whether they would like to speak for or against, and then you can divide them. You can have an opinion line. I think you know what's an opinion line.
Yeah, yes.
So
what was the other thing I did was, I asked him, instead of you speaking in your perspective, why don't you go into the opposite one? Like
exactly. Wonderful.
From a boy's point of view or perspective. Can you imagine
also,
in that, as a boy, can you speak? Can you imagine? And can you respond? And for the boy, similarly, if you are a girl, so how would be your response to that?
Excellent, Radhika. That's an indirect way of teaching empathy also.
In the middle, but they were able to at least try and put out their points. I thought was okay.
Thank you, Radhika. That's really wonderful. You did, really well. Maybe that's an indirect way of teaching empathy also, putting them in a different person's shoes and then speaking from their point of view, taking a different standpoint. All these are wonderful. I appreciate the effort that you made. Thank you very much. Let's move on again. Let me share my screen once again. I'm sorry, I'm here and there. Yeah. The third one that I'd like to discuss with you is role plays. I'll keep on my screen. I'll not switch it off. Would anybody like to share experience of organizing a role play to teach life skills, not your regular subject, not the content of the textbook, but to teach life skills? Did you ever try role plays? What was the topic that you gave? How did you organize this? Anyone? Kartika?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Kartika,
sir.
please speak.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
Kavita.
Good afternoon, sir. I made them do a role play on Save a Girl Child as part of gender sensitization for undergraduates. So they did it very well. Both boys and girls participated in it. It was around for 10 minutes was the role play. At a stretch, at a length, they could do it, and the message was very clear and loud. We did have an audience for that. I made them do before all the students actually. Yeah.
Good, Kartika. Thank you very much. Who decided the roles? You decided, or the students decided themselves?
Actually, I did decide, sir.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Sometime once you can also try giving them freedom to choose either of the two roles that they are playing, and maybe you can experiment with that also. And suppose you ask two students to volunteer and come forward, come to the front of the class and do a role play. What will the other students be doing?
They would be obviously concentrating, listening to what trying to know what is what these students are doing here, what is the message that they are trying to convey.
Thank you. Thank you, Kartika. That's one wonderful way. Another possibility is you can divide the class into pairs, and every pair is simultaneously role playing. So, you need not be overseeing every one of them except when something is going wrong. Perhaps you need not even go near. So the whole class is divided into pairs and all pairs are doing role play. Possible. Just try that. The next one, the next technique or the next tool that I would like to discuss with is using lots of games, activities in the classroom to teach life skills. Has anyone tried any game or any interesting activity to teach any one of these 10 life skills that we discussed? Michael has already raised his hand. Please, Michael, go ahead.
Sir, this is one thing that I've tried both for mock interviews. Basically, I'll stick to mock interviews. What we did was, in fact, this is collaborative. Again, we discussed this in the staff room. What we did was there were a panel of 4 students who were sitting as the interview panel. Okay, and we sent 2 students at days, and they would be there as the ones who are being interviewed. And we also had about a few students who were supposed to observe their body language. They were supposed to observe their posture and some of their responses and record it. So that way we were, students were also taking turns. So at the end of the 45-50 minute session, we had in all, let's say about 30 students who, took part in the activity. Thereby, it was more like, everybody got involved. So that's where, we sort of used everybody and they didn't get bored. They didn't get felt left out. So that way we managed the mock interview.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much. Michael, why do you call it a game or an activity?
I wouldn't call it as a game, but I think this is more relevant to the previous question.
Correct. You're right. It's more a role play and also some kind of an activity or a mock interview. Has anybody played a game in the class to facilitate any of the life skills? Anyone? So, I think 2 participants raised hand. I can't see your names. Any one of you, please unmute yourself and start.
Ms. Nagaraju, I have used a game where I divided the class into two teams, and they represented a construction company. And the task was given by the client, that was me, to build a bridge out of A4 size paper. And they had to coordinate, plan, design, and build the bridge in a set time.
Great.
And I, as a client, threw in a couple of challenges by changing specifications midway.
Lovely.
Just to give them
Making it more
an
challenging.
idea of, yes, what can happen when your client changes specifications.
What skill were you trying to build?
Multiple skills, communication, because they were onshore and offshore, then collaborating, then creative thinking, and also problem solving when there is a sudden change in parameters.
Thank you very much for saying that. I'll come back to this point a little later, I think, because I especially like the last part of your answer. May I know your name, please?
Alankrita, sir.
Alankrita, thank you so much. I'm sorry I could not see your name there on the screen because I'm in the presentation mode. Right. Okay. So let's go on to one more. The next one is collaboration. We have already made some mention about role plays and also pair work, group work, etc. So maybe all kinds of collaborative classroom techniques, communicative language techniques you can use as teaching methods, as pedagogic methods to teach all these life skills. So I'll not ask any one of you to talk about that. Let me come to the last one, case studies and projects. Has anyone tried a project or a case study to teach any of these life skills? I think Michael has raised his hand again. Anyone else?
Sir,
if
sir,
nobody...
may I share? Sir, may I share?
Yeah, who is this? Who is this? Please raise your hand so that I'll know your name. Go to reactions at the bottom right and raise hand. Yeah, I think it's Ramarao. Ramarao, please go ahead. Dr. Ramarao? Yeah.
Sir.
Yeah.
Namaste, sir.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. It's not a case study, sir. It's an example I was sharing with my students, sir. Sir. So the example is like this, sir. One student, he completed his BA Logic from a reputed college in North Andhra Pradesh. So after finishing his degree, he came to home, sir. So in those days, some 20-30 years back, BA Logic is a wonderful degree. So on that occasion, his parents are celebrating, and in North Andhra, you know, whatever we celebrate, we prepare some vardal garil under sir, deep garil and sir. So his mother was serving, and that guy, that student who completed his BA Logic was sitting with his father. And there was a discussion. Oh, my dear son. So he studied BA Logic. What is logic? He questions his father.
Oh, this is an anecdote. This is a story that you narrated, I think.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I understand that. I know that story. Anyway, has anybody used a project?
No, sir.
Yeah. Has anybody used a project to teach life skills? I think Sirisha, please go ahead briefly.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, sir. Actually, I gave a project like communication, like going back to different people and assessing their communication. How is they picking up few people and trying to assess their communication, whether it is clear, whether it is concise. So all combined together, their justifications are at the end.
Thank you so much. That's good. That's a good idea. I did a lot of them like that when I was a teacher. So I worked, as I told you, in a rural college. But I think my students were very cooperative wherever I was, and then lots of projects I did with students. And then just, of course, those days it was only to build some communication skills, very simple, but I did that well. It's already 12:15, so we will take a little time to finish this now. 1 second, please. Yeah. So this is what we have seen. So projects also are an excellent way of teaching life skills. Maybe quickly, can you go back to that Menti and go to that project, join a presentation and use this number 3457 4622. I'm repeating that. 3457 4622. So you see some items there, you need to rank them. So the 6 things that we have discussed so far are there listed. I'm also joining you. I think some have already started doing it. Good, good. I'm so happy.
Could you please repeat the code, sir?
The question is, there are the 6 techniques or tools or methods that I taught you.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. They would want to know the code.
One second. I'll tell you. The code is 3457 4622.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, quite a few of you have already answered. Last time I did not show my screen, I think, when you answered on the quiz. Yeah, I think, lovely. I'm very happy. Good, good, good. Only 6 people have answered so far. Please, others can do that. You did not fill up all the 6. Even if you think that 1 or 2 are your favorites, you can just mention them. As many as you want. Which is your first favorite, the second favorite, the third favorite, like that. Good, good response. Excellent. 11, 12, 13 people have answered. Okay, I think it's unexpected lines I expected to say, because brainstorming is my favorite too. I do it on lots of occasions, and then I do it in lots of teacher training programs. So brainstorming, pair and group work, which is collaboration, games and activities are excellent tools to teach life skills. So maybe we can stop there, so that I would have given a lot more time, but it's already 12:17. That's why I need to close now. So let me stop here. I'm sharing again my slideshow. Okay. Yeah. So your ranking is good. Whatever is your favorite, don't worry. All 6 of them work equally effectively, and it of course depends on the teacher how skillful he or she is in handling that. In case I can handle one of those methods more effectively, if I am more comfortable doing that, I'll use that. There is no hard and fast rule that you must use only because 25 people said brainstorming is better. I need not use that. I may be comfortable using something else. I think you can use that. Fine, good. So this is over. And then just to give one example, for instance, if I want to teach my students self-awareness, I'm sorry, I'm not asking you this question. I'm straight away showing you the answer. So if I want to teach my students self-awareness, what can I do in the class? For instance, I can advise them to look at themselves very objectively. I have to tell them what is objective, what is subjective. So when they look at themselves, how should they analyze themselves? How should they develop the ability to look at themselves from a neutral standpoint, without being very, very judgmental about that. So that is one skill that I can develop them. I can advise my students to keep a journal. I think that keeping a journal is one of the best ways to inculcate self-awareness. So my experiences, my thoughts, my ideas, my encounters, my reflections, if I make a list of all that, a journal is not a diary. It's not a chronological account of what you have done through the day. So maybe if you have to help your students. Maybe they do not know how to do that. But if you build this skill, I think they'll be greatly benefited. You can ask them to be mindful when they go out. What do they see? How much they see? Why is somebody else able to see more than what we are seeing? How do poets see? How do writers see? How do musicians see? How do painters see? And where is it that we fail to see? So in case we create that mindfulness, heartfulness, and being aware, taking a deeper, insightful look at things than I was capable of till yesterday. That is one skill that I can develop. And there are lots of psychometric tests you can download and give them. You can administer them in the class. You can show them the sites. You can introduce them to them so that they'll know what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, how to handle those weaknesses, how to know our own passion, how to know what we like, what we dislike. Many times students do not know. In fact, they're so very blank. Again, very unfortunate that. But that again, I'm sorry for deviating, but maybe teachers themselves are, we ourselves are responsible for not encouraging students to open their mouths, speak in the class. You know, I'm reminded of a teacher at school when I was very, very young, when I went to school, one of my teachers used to say, if you try to be too smart, I'm going to cut your tongue. So this was how, talking in the class was treated. So we were never encouraged to speak in the class. Silence was the only golden rule, and silence was the yardstick by which our success was measured. The most obedient student was the best student in the class. The one who had the greatest memory in the class was the brightest student. So that was, a different time. Now I think we can use all these tests and yardsticks, etc. And asking for constructive feedback is another excellent tool to evaluate ourselves, to know ourselves. Many of us, even teachers also, do not ask for feedback, or we do not appreciate feedback, or do not, often praise and flattery are taken for feedback. So usually people say, if I ask you now, for instance, how was my presentation? All of you are excellent, 5 out of 5, something like that. But very few of you, maybe a very, very small percentage of you, give very constructive feedback. And that is the place where I can begin improving myself. Anyway, so these are some tips to build self-awareness skills among students. And my favorite, apart from brainstorming, is the project method. In fact, I created lots of projects when I was a teacher. Even now, when I go to a teacher training program, I prefer to give a project so that maybe they can continue learning after the session is over. So it can come in the form of a field work, it can come in the form of a social activity, it can come in the form of an educational tour. I think educational tours were very popular when I was a teacher. I don't know if they are still popular, I'm not very sure, but if in case educational tours are undertaken, I think they are a wonderful opportunity for us to mix up with students, be friendly with them, know more about them, and help them know more about themselves. And maybe as a part of that educational tour, we can take up a project, either a class project or an individual project or a group project or whatever. And the last thing that I'd like to tell you is developing a questioning mind to build skills. I think I don't have any analytical data with me, but maybe a very vague evaluation is that about 80 to 90% of the classes do not have any questions, either from the teachers or from the students. Teachers do not ask questions, or they don't know how to ask questions, or they ask very, very yes, no answer questions, or closed-ended questions, which are of no value at all, even if they ask questions. Or maybe at the end of the class, they ask 1 or 2 questions to check whether students have understood that or not. But in case we make it a habit to ask lots of open-ended questions and involve students, language teachers have this wonderful opportunity, other teachers may not have. So in case we make it a practice and then ask lots of open-ended questions. And in fact, in case we encourage students to ask questions and make the classroom a place where a lot of interaction happens, I think, great success can be achieved. I'll show you this short video, 10-20 seconds. And after that, I'll discuss for 2-3 minutes, and I'll finish in the next 3 minutes. Maitri, that's okay. I think it's 12:24. Yeah, that's a slide, and I'll thank you and then close this slideshow so that I need 2 or 3 minutes to discuss a short video that you've seen, and I'd like 1 or 2 of you to comment on that. What do you understand from that short video that you've seen? Please, 2 or 3 of you, please raise your hands. I'll ask each one of you to give your interactions on that, give your comments on that. I think Sirisha has raised her hand again. Anyone else before Sirisha? I ask Sirisha. Sirisha spoke once. Anyone else would like to say something? Yeah, I think Mohammed Maruful, please unmute yourself.
Arman?
Yeah. Maruful, please speak.
To solve problem in any kind of in any situation. Whatever we have, whatever what we available in near my hand, do use or utilize the most.
Thank you, Maruful. You said that whatever we have, we must use it effectively. Thank you. Bhanu Kiran, please. Bhanu Kiran.
Sir, thank you for the opportunity, sir. Actually, the passion and interest is important than what they are not lagging.
Thank you. Passion is important than the availability of resources. Thank you, Bhanu. I think Deepti.
Yeah. Good noon, sir. Actually, it is, according to my perspective, I felt that use the resources to the fullest.
Use resources to the fullest. Thank you very much. I think that's hitting the nail on its head. Yes. I think Yamini and Radhika will stop there. Yamini?
So it's creativity and multitasking.
Creativity and multitasking. Thank you. Yamini. Radhika, please.
Creativity again.
Yeah.
And best out of waste also, sir.
Yeah, making the best out of the available resources. Thank you. Yeah. I think I don't want to disappoint Sirisha. Sirisha, you also can speak for a minute.
Yes, sir. I mean, it's like interest, sir. If you have interest in anything as a teacher or as a student, no one can stop us. So, you can do with determination.
Right. Okay. Last, I think I don't want to disappoint Yadagiri. Yadagiri, please speak for a minute.
Yeah, passion towards challenging.
Thank you, all of you. Thank you very much. Yes, it is passion. It is utilizing the available resources. It is developing interest, and it's everything that you said. All that I would like to tell you is that as an English teacher, whatever resources we have, whatever infrastructural advantages and disadvantages we have, whatever textbook we are asked to teach, whatever examination pattern we work with, whatever principle we have to work under, whatever college we are working in, whatever be the difficulties, we can make the most of the opportunity that has come our way. With the available resources, with the available textbooks, with the available infrastructure, we can make the most of them in case we have what is called passion. So a passionate teacher, however incompetent he or she may look, is still better than somebody else who does not have passion but all the knowledge in the world. So be passionate, be loving, be considerate, be kind, be empathetic to your students, and do your best. Wish you all the best. Thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity that you have given me. In case you have any further questions, please feel free to interact with me. I showed you my email address already. I'll also post it in the chat box. So please, in case you want to have any question on this further, please feel free to get back to me. Thank you. Back to St. Mary's.
Thank you, sir. It was indeed a very engaging session. It was such a privilege to see you so full of energy. Our participants also have been very actively participating. Thank you for giving us a very comprehensive list of life skills, the importance of practicing life skills more than being a theory, the popular methods, the kind of tips for facilitating self-awareness and project methods, and finally, the valuable tips for us, how do we go about the entire process. And I'm very sure our participants were completely engaged in your session, and it has been an enriching experience for them. So thank you so much, sir. There are a couple of questions which we have from the participants. So this will be just for about 10 to 15 minutes, sir. So I would just pose the very first question to you.
Rajitha, 1 second. I posted my mail address twice. Please follow the second one. The first one, I made a mistake in the spelling. So lionnagaraju@gmail.com. Yeah, please go ahead.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. So the very first question is from one of our participants who says, how can language class be used to teach life skills?
I told you already that the text is always a pretext. The text is a convenient tool. The text is a convenient platform on which we can build whatever we want. For instance, there is a lesson lesson from Milton, a lesson from Rabindranath Tagore, a lesson on whatever. So we are teaching this poem. We can not only teach the content, as a literature teacher, not only teach language as a language teacher, the grammar in it, but we can also build a life lesson on that. Maybe we can utilize that platform to teach them empathy, teach them maybe conflict resolution skills, maybe teach time management, depending on, of course, every text lends itself to teaching some life skills, not all. So we have to identify which skill can be best taught using that material. The driest of the contents also can be utilized, exploited by resourceful teachers to teach what they want to teach, right? So this is, I mean, the teacher skill.
Thank you so much, sir. There is another question, and the question is about suggesting some games and activities from one of our participants. If you could suggest anything in that regard.
In case you are interested in having a lot of them, perhaps you can go to Penny or 5-minute classroom games, and there are many books on that. You can go to a website and search for games for the classroom, games for the English classroom, games to teach life skills, and most importantly, instead of following them, you can create your own. What can be done in the kind of classroom that I have, with the kind of infrastructure that I have, with the kind of component that I am teaching? What can I do? How can I create some physical movement in the class, some physical activity in the class, a game element in the class? How can I gamify my class? How can I add a reward to this? How can I add a competition in this, a healthy competition in this? So if you just think, I think you'll have brilliant ideas, lots of ideas. The simplest, I mean, to just give you one example, the simplest that I used many times, and every time successfully, is the name game. So when we have a class, we ask them to sit around, either the whole class or at least it's a very large class, they sit in circles, and then everyone, for instance, I've taught them adjectives yesterday. I ask every student to write 5 adjectives starting with the first letter of their name. I'm Raju. I have to think of 5. I can take a dictionary also with me. I can check dictionary or whatever. I can help each other, but I have to identify 5 adjectives that begin with the first letter R. My name, Raju. My name is Raju. So what do I do out of that 5? I ask my students to identify the one which most likely or most closely describes them. For instance, Raju, I have 5 adjectives. Rational is one adjective that suits me best. I think I ask them to tick one of the 5. So I am rational Raju. So whenever I say my name, I say I'm rational Raju. So they all sit in a circle and everybody introduces themselves, and then it can be made very highly complicated. It can be converted into a memory game. It can be converted into some entertainment, and everybody only introduces, everybody remembers the previous one, everybody remembers all the names, and it can have lots of variations. So a simple game that is teaching them indirectly adjectives, teaching them help know each other and have some fun in the class. Just give you one example, but you can create a million like that.
Thank you so much, sir. There is another question which asks, one of the participants is just asking to repeat the issue of blended learning, sir.
Blended learning, I think I made a mention of that. To put it very simply, blended learning is at least 2 kinds of learning happening simultaneously. For instance, part of the learning happens in the classroom, part of it happens outside. Part of it happens synchronously at the same time for everybody. Part of it happens asynchronously. That means everybody is learning at a different time. For instance, I posted that handout in the WhatsApp group yesterday. So somebody might have read it at 6:30, somebody might have read it at 7 o'clock, somebody might have read it in the morning today. So asynchronous, so not at the same time. So the same material is read, the same question is answered, the same assessment is done, the same activity is done, but at different times. So it can be partly synchronous, partly asynchronous. It can be any different. Part of it is theory, part of it happens in the laboratory. That also some kind of blending. So using different formats is blending.
I think as of now, these are the questions, sir. I'm just waiting if there is any more question. Thank you so much for patiently answering the questions.
Thank you, everyone.
Dear participants, if there is anything that you would like to ask, you can please text that. You can do that in the chat box. Waiting for any one of you to have any queries. It will be answered right away.
And you can also feel free to interact with me later. Please send me your questions. I'll try to answer them at my earliest convenient time.
So there is a question. Do you have any suggestions on scales that can be used to assess life skills for research purposes?
I think all these scales are not totally reliable, but they are made as objective as possible. There are lots of them. You can search for psycho, somatic, psycho, social, or maybe you can just try skill testing tools, and you can search for them. You can identify the one that suits you best. There are many websites. I think if I am right, the book that is launched today also has some tests. It asks you to classify a few things, and there are columns, 2-3 columns against each, and you answer those questions, and based on that you award yourself points. If you are in column 1, you get 5 points. You are in column 3, you get 1 point, like that. So there are some measuring yardsticks already suggested in the book. Please take a look at the book. I think it's available in the store nearest to you, or maybe you can order it and buy it, or maybe you can also search on the website, Google, and find the one that best suits you.
Okay, sir. Thank you again.
Whether SWOT analysis will be helpful?
SWOT?
SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis.
SWOT, S-W-O-T.
What's the question?
Will it be helpful is what I'm able to hear from here, sir. SWOT analysis.
It is very helpful. Not only students, we must do it on a regular basis, maybe every year, every half year, every quarter if possible. We must constantly be doing a SWOT analysis of ourselves. That helps us know. For instance, I mean, the simplest example that I can give you is how good is my pronunciation? So that is my SWOT. If it's not good, what should I do? If it's good, what should I do? If it's good, what can I do with this? If it's bad, what should I do to improve that? That is what. But if I don't ask myself that question, where am I? I am where I am. So asking ourselves lots of questions is SWOT analysis. What helps me? Something that is there within me, and what helps me that is outside me. It's what. What is outside is opportunity and threat. What's inside me is strength and weakness. So I must be able to identify things that are within me that promote my success, that inhibit my success. Things that are outside me that can help me grow or that can impede my progress.
Thank you once again, sir. And one last question we have here is there a difference between life skills and soft skills? How do we know?
I don't know the answer to that question. Maybe I mean, it's a very thin line between them, I think.
All right. So
when we talk about soft skills, we include professional skills, and if you, for instance, ability to use a computer. I don't know if it's a technical skill or a soft skill. It's certainly not a life skill. Maybe there are some skills such as communication skills, which are both soft skills and life skills. I mean, as I told you already, anything that helps you become better is a life skill. That's the definition you take home, and I think that helps you identify what's a soft skill, what's not.
Right. So thank you once again, sir, for patiently answering all the questions. And I'm sure the participants have greatly benefited from this question and answer round. So that brings to an end of the question and answer session. Once again, we are very indebted to you for all the trouble that you have taken and given us those valuable inputs. So thank you once again, sir. I have the next segment of this session. Dear participants, there are just a few announcements. So we really thank our resource person. The few announcements that are of for you people to remember now is the first and foremost that we request you people to fill in the feedback form. And the certificates will be mailed to all the participants within the, probably 3 or 4 working days. I'm sure you will cooperate with us in that regard. The book also will reach to you all participants within the next 5 working days. And for those of you who are interested, some of the participants who would like to have the extra copies of the book, you can surely contact the distributor. We shall provide the number of the distributor in the chat box. And the final announcement is, please see that we are requesting all of you to turn on your videos towards the end for a group picture. So I kindly request all of you to share your screen after I finish the word of thanks towards the end for a group picture. So thank you. And I would now proceed with the vote of thanks. Once again, thanks to our resource person. So on behalf of the Department of English, St. Mary's College, I take this opportunity to propose the vote of thanks. At the outset, I express my heartfelt gratitude to our honorable guests and resource persons, Professor Mohan Raj and Mr. Nagaraju, sir, for spending their precious time engaging the participants and providing valuable inputs. I thank LTI for this kind of collaboration. I'm sure we would be able to reach a greater academic milieu. I also extend my sincere thanks to our respected principal, Professor Matthew George, for his constant guidance, encouragement, and support during the organization of this FDP. I thank Dr. Maitri, the head of the Department of English, for taking the initiative and conceptualizing this entire program. I would also place on record the technical help, cooperation, and support extended by the members of the Department of English, and thank each one of them for conducting this program smoothly and efficiently. I would also take this opportunity to thank all the teaching fraternity of our college for their constant support in all our endeavors. Last but not the least, I especially thank all the participants for showing their active interest and participation. Without your cooperation, it would not be possible to make this program successful. I think I really thank each one of you for your active interest, your positive response and feedback, for all that you have given in the comment box. I'm sure that has validated the efforts that has come from each one of us. So I once again thank one and all. Thank you very much.
I request the participants to kindly fill the feedback form before you exit. Rajitha ma'am, you are muted.
Sorry to interrupt, ma'am. Regarding the group picture, if you could give the instruction after the feedback form. Once again, a reminder. Thank you, ma'am.
Switch on for the group picture moment video. Okay.
While they are working on the feedback form, I would like to thank the principal, the management of the college, the Department of English, and everybody who has helped in organizing this program so very successfully. I think nearly 100 people participated, I think. I mean, that's really wonderful. I think Maitri and others did a lot of groundwork, I think.
Sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much.
Hi, sir. Could you please allow the others to switch on the video?
Please, I think, Acha, you can do that, I think. Are you not allowed?
I think the main host has it, sir.
Oh, I see. Yeah, if you want a group picture, you need to allow them to switch on their videos.
I hope the participants have filled in the feedback form, requesting you to complete that and switch on your videos for a group picture. Thank you.
I see some known faces from other colleges. Maybe I visited them, or maybe they were there at other workshops earlier.
Some of the participants are from the webinar that we had last year, 2020.
I see. Great.
This COVID has taken us through many webinars.
Great. Your college seems to have a very strong English department. I'm very happy.
those who are attending for, from their mobile phones, keep your mobile phones horizontally like this, not like this, so that, the picture will come nice. Keep your mobile phones horizontally.
Yes. I'm very happy to be participating in this along with Professor Mohan Raj, my mentor, my teacher, and my guide, the one who initiated me into lots of things. I am a member of LTOI because of him. And I had this very special privilege today of, speaking, addressing this workshop along with him.
Thank you so much, sir. It was.
I consider it a very special privilege.
It was such an inspiration to listen to you. I was there throughout, and I enjoyed it. Every bit of it.
But speaking in front of a teacher always needs a special courage and confidence.
I think there are four generations here. From Mohan Raj sir, then Nagaraju sir, then Vayal sir, and then Vayal sir's students.
Yes. At least four. Maybe Professor Mohan Raj sir also is there, perhaps it's a fifth generation.
Yeah, it begins with Mohan Raj sir.
I was Professor Mohan Raj's student at the Central Institute of English and Foreign Language at that time, CIFL, when I did my PG diploma.
Ancient, sort of.
I was
ancient
a student
history.
myself. I was a student myself when I did my CT, PGCT.
Okay.
I too have shared the same platform, Mohan Raj. So I've done my PGCT. I missed out my DT from EFLU.
Okay.
So have we clicked Michael sir, Sai sir?
I think many of them do not have the cameras on.
Plus, I requested Bobby also to help us. Mr. Bobby.
Yeah. Shailaja ma'am, please keep your mobile urgently. Adhigiri sir, switch on your mobile. Switch on your camera. Shailaja ma'am, keep your mobile urgently. Yeah, Adhigiri sir.
Yeah, my video is not appeared, sir.
Okay. Lakshmi Narayana. Yeah, I'm clicking the.
It's good to see so many of you still here, 68 of you even at the end of the program. That's good. Okay, is that okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Done, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you all some other time again. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you very much. It is a pleasure to be with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Professor Mohan Raj sir. Thank you, Nagaraju sir. Thank you, Principal sir. Thank you to all my department colleagues, Michael sir, Rajitha ma'am, and all of them, Yamini, who have been working relentlessly for almost 2 weeks. And thank you all the participants for being such a wonderful audience. Thank you one and all.